acrophobia, or the broken leg of the photographer in Rear Window emblematize for Deleuze this paralysis or crisis of the movement image that leads to the rise of the time image, as Scotty or as a reporter in Rear Window are transformed into passive spectators. They anticipate the ruin of the movement image system and the cinematographic invention of the contemplative ballad. But I think that Deleuze got a bit too fast when he aligns the crisis of narrative action with the disability which transforms the hero into a passive spectator. For we must distinguish two forms of passivity. The first one, Scotty's acrophobia, cannot endanger the logic of the narrative. On the contrary, it is required by the machination. The second one, which actually goes beyond the machination, is the fascination for the character supposedly fascinated by death. This is what I call the romantic scenario interwoven with the Aristotelian one. And this is the place where a gap can be located. But this gap cannot be thought of, I think, in Deleuzian terms. There are two episodes in the film that make the two plots that Hitchcock wants to unite, then to unite, come apart. One of them, the first one, because it tells too much about the visual fascination. The second one, because on the contrary, it tells too much about the intellectual machination. The first episode is located at the exact articulation of the two parts, after the death of Madeleine. And now I think we can see the first extract. Okay, thank you. Thank you for the lights. Well, this episode obviously makes us feel uncomfortable. This visual fantasy in a kind of late surrealistic or post-surrealistic manner, is a little too exaggerated. Scotty's trouble could have been more soberly indicated. Moreover, this visual exaggeration of this vertigo comes down to a weakening. It boils it down to just a nightmare that is to be dissipated. As a matter of fact, Scotty will not follow his dream. He will not jump from the tower to rejoin the dead. Nor will he imitate the hero of the novel of Boileau and Marce-Jacques, D'Entre les Morts, on which the film is based. In this novel, which is a very interesting one, in this novel of D'Entre les Morts, From Amongst the Dead, the hero ends up killing the fake Madeleine as he wants her to confess that she is the true one. This means ultimately that he wants her to confess that she is the death, or that is simply death with which he is in love. Hitchcock and his scriptwriter shows a simpler relation to truth, the one that discloses the machination. But this is the point where we can see the second gap that I mentioned. This is the second excessive episode. In fact, there are two scenes of disclosure. Much before Scotty sees the necklace that you could see in this episode, of Madeleine around Judy's neck and forces her to confess the truth, Judy herself confesses it to the spectator in the following sequences. So if you can see it now, extract 2.
Scotty. And so you found me. This is the moment that I dreaded and hoped for, wondering what I would say and do if I ever saw you again. I wanted so to see you again just once. Now I'll go and you can give up your search. I want you to have peace of mind. You've nothing to blame yourself for. You were the victim. I was the tool and you were the victim of Gavin Elster's plan to murder his wife. He chose me to play the part because I looked like her, dressed me up like her. He was quite safe because she lived in the country and rarely came to town. He chose you to be the witness to a suicide. The Carlotta story was part real, part invented to make you testify that Madeline wanted to kill herself. He knew of your illness. He knew you'd never get up the stairs of the tower. He planned it so well. He made no mistakes. I made the mistake. I fell in love. That wasn't part of the plan. I'm still in love with you, and I want you so to love me. If I had the nerve, I'd stay and lie, hoping that I could make you love me again, as I am for myself. And so forget the other and forget the past. But I don't know whether I have the nerve to try.
At the end, well, the narration here obviously falls short of obeying the good Aristotelian logic. Judy's confession distorts the straight line of the plot, since it tells us the truth in advance instead of letting us discover it at the same time as Scotty. In good Aristotelian logic, our frustration gets still increased by the visual clumsiness of the device that makes the revelation happen in two successive ways, because we learn the truth first out of the images that the camera shows us how they are supposed to pop up in Judy's mind, and second out of the letter that she writes. And on top of this, the letter is told by a voice off, which is a rather outdated device at the end of the 1950s. So it turns out that the filmmaker breaks twice by a flashy procedure the straight line of the plot and introduces a split between the two vertigos, that of the Machiavellian machination and that of the morbid fascination. The appropriateness of this double supplement appears if we compare the film to the